So let's talk about then. You're out of NYU. What were some of your first jobs in the industry? And I noticed on IMDb you have a short film, Seventh Dog, and then you have a feature film, The Imperialists Are Still Alive. Maybe we'll sort of walk through those. What were you doing once you got done with this graduate program at NYU? What were the first forays into professional filmmaking?
It was basically, well, when you're there, it's almost when you're there, it's almost like a fast track because you do get really good meetings. And I was trying to make the screenplay. Now, this is a really important part for the listeners right now. If you are writing from a specific place which is new and hasn't been seen before, people are going to try and control your narrative, okay? So it was really interesting after Seventh Dog. I had this movie called The Imperialists Are Still Alive, which is still, I mean, it's wonderful because, you know, some of the programmers at Sundance, they remember it super fondly. It was chosen for, I think, Robert Redford had like a show on the Sundance channel about like his favorite Sundance moments. So it was clearly because it came from like a really fresh voice. So if you're writing like that, it's really difficult to not be swayed because everyone's going to be like, well, you know, to get your movie made, you've got to make compromises. You do not need to compromise. If you know your voice and you know that it's special, don't compromise. You compromise on set because you don't have the money to take the crazy, you know, whatever shot you need. That's when you compromise. Or you compromise in the sense that, okay, you can't film the whole thing in Africa because of money. But the essence and the way you write and the language and the real core of your story do not compromise because that is the issue. The issue that the cinema is so vanilla right now because they are so scared to back interesting things. They don't know it, so they get worried. It's not like the 70s where there was really interesting directors on terms of being backed. Now, hopefully, with this whole diversity Me Too thing, it'll change. But honestly, I mean, in Europe, it's way behind, and in hopefully in America, it's slightly better. But, you know, I won't know until I've made my next film. You know, there's a reason why I made this next movie in Luxor. I mean, nobody was interfering with it. I just went and I made this movie for no money. You know, I literally wrote some scenes on set during shooting. You know, it was really fun because we literally were making it like we're making a student film, except we had some pretty phenomenal actors and a really amazing technical crew because we weren't a student film anymore, you know? But it was like literally we were all really gritty. And I think when you make a film in a gritty way, you can really, it doesn't mean that it has to look gritty. If you look at my film, it looks beautiful, it looks very polished, it looks like we really know what we're doing. But you know, we made it literally in 18 days. And I made it in that way because partly I just had a baby and I wanted to do it quickly. And partly we didn't have any money, you know, and Andrea's schedule, she could only put us in for 18 days. We were meant to have 20. I mean, talk about limitations, but we managed to do it. So I think if you just know, you have to really fight for what you want to do. Anyone interesting has not made a film that sounds like anyone else's film. So that's why they're interesting. Now, don't be interesting just for the sake of being interesting, but if you know you have something that's special, you know you have it, and you just have to really have so much self-belief. And, you know, I had guys, really famous New York producers, right out of film school, doing these meetings. They were like, "Oh, that's great, Zeina, but where are the men in the script?" I'm like, "Well, I actually hadn't realized that men weren't the focus of my script because it was about this woman. You know, my first movie, it was about a woman and her like life post 9/11 in New York on the downtown scene, you know, and." I was like, what about the men? The men are in there, but it's not about men, it's about this woman, you know? So you get these really basic comments like that, and, you know, other people go home and try and write some men in it. I was like, no, I'm not writing some men in it. This is my movie. If they don't get it, they don't get it. Great. And you have to believe that if your work is good, over time, you will have a body of work, and that's what it's about making good work. If that's the kind of filmmaker you want to be. You know, if you want to go off and do the flashy stuff, which is an option, and I'm not saying it's not a good option, but if you want to do that, then maybe you do a different route. But if you want to be like an auteur and you have a voice, you just stick to the work, you keep your eye on the prize for your work and your body of work, and then you'll have something hopefully interesting at the end of it. I've only done 2 movies, but that's my plan, that I hopefully have an interesting body of work at the end.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Selling Your Screenplay podcast. If you'd like to hear the full interview, just go to sellingyourscreenplay.com/podcasts, or to go directly to the episode, just use the link in the show notes. Thanks for watching.